Kash Patel spent 4 years in Donald Trump's administration as deputy assistant to the president and as senior director for counterterrorism on the National Security Council. Now, that's a mouthful to say, but that's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. He went on to serve as principal deputy to the acting director of national intelligence. That's where he oversaw the operations of all 17 intelligence agencies and provided the president's daily briefing. He now wants to pull back the curtain on the deep state who continue to secretly pull the levers of power without any accountability to those of us who are out here as the American people. Please welcome to the show, Kash Patel. Good to have you here, Kash. Thank you. You know, we hear the term deep state.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know what that means. So tell us, what is the deep state and why should we be worried about what's happened to this country?
Well, first of all, Governor, thanks so much for having me in the great state of Tennessee. And this is quite an amazing set. So,
thank you. Thank you.
Your staff are wonderful. I wish we weren't talking about the deep state, because then it wouldn't be a problem we had to address. It used to be a right-wing conspiracy saying such a verboten statement such as the deep state. But what it is, it's people in government who embed themselves in senior level positions, and then they contradict the will and authority of the commander-in-chief, a duly elected president. We've seen that at our FBI and DOJ and DOD, et cetera. But here's the thing, the deep state cannot survive without their conspirators in the mainstream media. When they come together, you see what they did in Russiagate, you see what they did in January 6th through Ukraine impeachment or the classified documents cases and so many other examples.
But it is frightening to think that the people, we pay their salaries, these are taxpayer-funded people,
Yep.
and a lot of them have the attitude, I've heard people say, that they would literally look at the elected officials and say, we were here when you came, we'll be here when you leave. We're not changing anything. And they actually have that arrogant attitude about their jobs.
And
it's frightening.
It's tragic because it is a violation of the oath of office, the oath that you have taken and so many Americans take every day to serve this country. And when you have military leadership or law enforcement leadership, and I've been in the rooms to literally hear them say just that, and I said, what happened to the chain of command? Are we making exceptions because you don't like the current commander-in-chief? That's not how our constitutional republic works. And so rooting out the deep state is something we must do as a nation. It cannot be done from inside Washington. It has to be done from without across the country.
And how do we do that? I mean, what are the steps? Because I think most of us who are tuned in right now to what you're saying are going to say, yeah, we got to get rid of that. We got to change this. How? How do we do it?
There's two big ways. One, you have to, of course, win an election where you install personnel across the bureaucracy, not just at the cabinet level, but every rung below that for 10 rungs down. That is someone who's going to follow the mission and the law of the commander-in-chief. Two, we have to go, before we get there, we have to go out and educate America. Remember, half of America still thinks Donald Trump's a Russian asset because most of the media spent 5 years lying about it. And I just use that one example because it's the one that sticks. But if you're able to break through America, get them to turn off mainstream media and turn on great shows like yours, they're going to get the truth and say, okay, I was lied to back then. Now they're telling me where the China COVID virus actually came from. Maybe I should listen to them this time.
I think it's a good idea to listen to our show, apparently, than some of these other ones. I think that's a great idea. Recently, we had a very embarrassing situation where a 21-year-old National Guard airman apparently had access to incredible, extraordinary secrets that, quite frankly, senior officials normally wouldn't have. And he was just on some international chat rooms and it ended up getting in the hands of both friends and foes all over the world. How does something so ridiculous happen?
Look, as a former deputy director of national intelligence, I can tell you there are a lot of people in government who have that top secret clearance. But there are very few people who have what we call that need to know. And this 21-year-old Air National Guardsman, we're not knocking his service, was an IT expert. He had no need to know the substantive material that we're talking about. And the reason that he couldn't have done it alone, Governor, is because if we believe the reporting, we are talking about operational troop movements in theaters of war where we have active engagements in the Ukraine and elsewhere, our troops, adversaries, and things like that. That is particularly curated for the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to advise the President of the United States. There is a very small group of people who have that need to know and access. And this individual has been putting out this information for some 6 months that we know about just now. So it's not like he went in there, stole a piece of paper off a desk and says, hey, check this out. It's a methodical scheme, something akin to Snowden and Assange. And I think we're going to see more and find out the extent of it as time goes on, but it is not good for national security.
Well, it's frightening to me that he had access. It's even more frightening that he didn't have the integrity to keep it to himself, that he thought that he could share that with other people. Kash, you've got a book coming out called Government Gangsters. It's coming out in June. I love the title. I'm thinking maybe you gave away the plot in the title, but it's pretty powerful. But give us a preview. Government Gangsters, who are they and what are they doing to us?
Sure. So in the book, which hopefully comes out this summer, we name every single government gangster, the type of deep state people we talked about just on the top of the show here, by name and how they did it. But more importantly, we go through the government agency by agency, department by department, say this is how we fix it using the executive branch, leveraging Congress, constitutional oversight. Donald Trump has dubbed the book the roadmap to the 2024 presidency. I was humbled to get that. And as you know, Governor, you have to actually submit your manuscript back to the government.
Yes.
When you write it. Well, they have suppressed my manuscript for 5 months. So I'm taking them to federal court this week. And we're going to get that book out, but you can get your piece up.
You know, I find that outrageous. Here you are taking the steps to allow them to see so that you're not leaking any information. And a 21-year-old airman kid is just throwing out all kinds of stuff. And, you know, that just makes no sense to me.
Well, we play by the rules, Governor. That's the difference.
I'm glad you do, and I hope that you have an opportunity to serve this country again in an intelligence capacity. We need people of integrity and high academic credentials that you have to be back in power and to lead us out of this incredible deep state nightmare that is just destroying this country from the inside out. So please come back when the book is out. Let's talk about it, and you can name the names right here on this show.
I will indeed, Governor. Thank you so much.
Well, if you would like more information and links to Kash Patel, head over to our website at Huckabee.tv, and we will connect you.